Hey guys, we've been getting some questions and requests this week in regards to what's been going on in the news in Japan with protests and other things going on in relation to Article 9 of the Japanese Constitution. So, just a little bit of background first. We're not really claiming to be experts on this, of course. This is a huge, complex topic that really requires a huge panel of experts to talk about it, and we would not include ourselves in that panel by any means. But just purely from a layman's point of view, as people who live in Japan and who listen to what Japanese people have to say about this, we'll just give you a little bit of info about it. First of all, some background. Article 9 was introduced into the Japanese Constitution in 1947 during the occupation of Japan by America, and some people say that Japan was forced into agreeing to it or passing it because they wanted to protect the emperor, because at the time it was being considered to charge the emperor with war crimes and dethrone the emperor and all sorts of things. So some people claim that the only reason Japan agreed to it was because of that. It's sort of irrelevant really why it was agreed to, because the bottom line was it was agreed to by the Japanese Diet, by the Japanese Parliament. They did agree to it, and it's not unusual either. I mean, Germany had a similar sort of agreement that they had to agree to at the end of World War II, and so did Italy. So it's not unusual. It's probably going on throughout history. Anybody that beats somebody else at a war then demands that they don't do it again. They usually take away their weapons and make them promise not to do it again, and that's basically what it did. It basically made it a law that Japan could not have an army that was war ready. They're allowed to have a self-defense force, as we've showed you on previous videos, which is sort of like a small army, small navy, small air force that they're allowed to use for self-defense and for other security purposes. They have limited involvement in UN, United Nations type operations in other countries. Usually in a supporting role. They're armed, they have armoured cars, and they have fighter jets, and they have all that sort of stuff, but usually in UN type operations they only play a supporting role and don't actually shoot guns, and that's been the case for the last 70 years. And a couple of other things that it says that Japan will not engage in any war, and it won't threaten to engage in any war. That's another couple of very important clauses that are in Article 9. So that's been the case for the last 70 years. As it is now, what's happening is the current government and the current Prime Minister are trying to change it so that Japan can play a more active role in United Nations operations, and so that Japan can more actively stand up to itself in current tensions with China and North Korea. So it seems that from the polls and so on, it appears that about half of Japanese people are happy with the Constitution the way it is, and they're happy with Article 9 the way it is, and that don't want it to change. And a lot of the people we speak to are like that. They're happy for Japan to be one of the few countries that in the last 70 years has not fired any guns at anybody else. You know, there's very few countries that can say that now, isn't there? That in the last 70 years they've had no armed conflict with any other nations at all, which is pretty good. And around half the Japanese people seem to think that keeping Article 9 the way it is will help maintain that record for them, and that will keep them out of any dramas. The other half of the people are a mix of people that have a whole heap of different beliefs about it, of course. In amongst those beliefs seem to be the fact that for a country to have its own sovereignty, and for a country to have its own ability to look after itself is important. So those people believe that it's important for Japan to be able to defend itself and not rely on America, because obviously the people who like Article 9 the way it is also have to accept that, you know, Japan is full of American bases and really relies on its connection to America, and relies on America for its protection, basically, which those people are happy with. But of course, there's a lot of other people that aren't happy with that, that think that they should be able to defend themselves, and that they'd like to see the American troops and the American forces out of Japan altogether, and that the Japanese self-defense force should be able to look after the defense of Japan. So it's a really complex issue and a very emotional issue for lots of people. So this week we actually saw in Tokyo there was protests, quite violent protests, or not really, not Molotov cocktail violence, but some very emotional people in Tokyo having confrontation with the police, and they were protesting strongly to maintain Article 9. So those are the people that didn't want any changes. A lot of them were really upset too that the current Japanese Prime Minister has actually been sort of undermining that article and sort of bending the rules as far as what he wants the Japanese military to be doing. And those people are saying that the Prime Minister shouldn't be doing that without permission of the people. So those people were quite upset about it. One gentleman in a suit actually climbed up onto above a bridge in central Tokyo and poured petrol over himself and set fire to himself. He didn't actually die at the time. They've taken him off to hospital. Likely he won't survive it, of course, being covered in petrol and being set fire to. So obviously some people feel very, very strongly about it, and don't want Japan to change the rule, and don't want Japan to be involved in any conflicts overseas. So it's a really complex topic. It's really hard to know how it's going to end up, which side of this debate are going to win it. You know, it's not necessarily the 50% that are wanting to change that constitution. It's not like they want to get, most of them want to get involved in any conflicts. It's just, it seems likely that they just want to feel that they can defend themselves instead of relying on another country to defend them. So that seems to be the case with the people that we've spoken to and seen interviewed on TV and so on. That seems to be their thing. That, you know, if Japan's an independent country, it should have its right to have its own military. Also, some of those people are a bit nervous at the moment because of the tensions with China and North Korea as well, and not quite sure what's going to happen there. It's also another group of people as well don't like the fact that because Japan relies on America for its security, it also has to bow to America's will in regards to economic things, business things, economic things, tariffs and import duties and things like that. So obviously America can put a fair bit of pressure on Japan as far as those sorts of things are concerned as well. Some people don't like that either. So yeah, really complex topic. Really complex topic. I think it's fair to say most Japanese people are extremely passive. I think even in amongst this debate we can see that's the case. That's why this is such a strong debate. Most Japanese people don't want to see Japan get involved in any of the dramas that a lot of other countries are involved in now. So yeah, that's a bit of an outline. Obviously there's a lot more discussion going on about this in the media and so on, so you guys will see more of it. Hopefully this little bit of an outline might have helped anyway those people that weren't aware of all this stuff. So there's a layman's perspective on what's going on with it now anyway. So there it was, Article 9 of the Japanese Constitution. More videos coming soon.